Is Rob Zombie's Halloween really that bad?
Yes!
Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be reviewing Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, I had actually never seen this one. The only reason I watched it is because since being on YouTube, I've come to realise that it's got a bit of a cult following. Now, a lot of people we've spoken to, a lot of people we're friends with, admire this movie. It's got a bit of a cult status. I was never fussed on watching it. I may not have ever watched it if it wasn't for this channel. But I thought we got together. We thought we'll watch Halloween 2, see what it's like, and we can do a little review on it. So, Jenks, do you want to kick this one off?
The irony was, I was the one that pushed this, and I'm not a big fan of Halloween's, but I thought I didn't like Rob Zombie's first one. I don't like the fact it was a first person because it's very hard to be scared of a guy when you see him walking down the street. But I thought, you know what? I heard there was
Whistling as well.
flicking a coin with a cane. And I thought, you know what? I heard Rob Zombie's sob story on Joe Rogan about how the studio is in his ear. And I thought, oh, do you know what? Maybe I'm a bit harsh on him. And maybe Halloween 2 is his passion project and it's the film he wanted to make. It turns out the studio probably should have intervened because this film was directionless. Directionless. Yeah.
I think people will get the gist of what you're trying to say.
It was just such a mess. Like it's as if he'd either just seen lots of horror films and thought he could be a director, or he's never seen a horror film before, because it's just such a mess. Like you've got one of the opening scenes where you've got two parts. You've got his escape from that van with that really good crash. It's a really good crash, very violent. And then it's her getting attacked in the hospital. And then she wakes up and it's all a fantasy, all a dream. But you're thinking, well, was the escape a fantasy as well? It never says. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, of course. So this one is set 1 year after the first movie. It follows Laurie Strode as she suffers with PTSD following the events of the first movie. And then on the flip side, Michael, who's presumed dead, has been living out in the wilderness and he's getting these premonitions, ghosts of his mother and him as a kid.
Jesus.
And a white horse. So that's basically where the film opens up. And then it's about Laurie Strode struggling with the events from the first movie. And then Michael's travel back into Haddonfield. It's his mother who's kind of pushing him to go there. The setup's not bad at all. I quite like the opening. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the opening. I think it's probably the strongest part of the film because it's got a clear narrative. We know where we are. But like you said, Jenks, it just feels a bit messy. It doesn't feel like it has that much direction. A lot of it is just a series of events all put into one film.
Yeah.
I found myself lost a lot watching this film, especially watching it for the first time. And I haven't seen the first one in probably 15 years, Jenks.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's like a lot of scenes stitched together. There's no real narrative. He seems to be working his way around town like he's got a sat nav. He's finding her really easily. He's picking people off. And I think the biggest problem with it is Michael. He's just this massive monster. Like he played by that guy you said, what's his name? He's a wrestler, plays Sabretooth.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. He's a huge guy. He's a monster. And he's just become like a superhero that he's not just this like nasty person. He is superhuman. There's even like one scene where he picks up a fucking car and rolls it down the hill. That is not Michael, in my opinion. That's just too much.
Yeah. So I've got a love-hate relationship with this Michael Myers. Now, I did like the first one when it came out. I even bought the huge Mezco figure. I've still got it, right? It's worth a fair bob now.
Is that...
I was 14 or 13 when the first one came out, and I was at the right age for it where I could appreciate it, having a new Halloween movie. I grew up with the original one. But then for some reason, I never got on to the second one, right? But I did like Michael in these ones. I love his look. I do like Tyler Mane as Michael Myers. He's like 10 foot tall and he's got a good face for it. And the reason I say he's got a good face for it, and the reason I have a love-hate relationship with this Michael, is that the majority of this film he's spent with his mask off, right? Yeah. He's kind of hidden behind a beard and long hair. But as much as I hate seeing Michael over his mask so much, he just looks like a drifter trying to hitch a ride back into Haddonfield, like. Yeah. He does look terrifying, Jenks.
He does.
He looks absolutely horrifying. Now, if this was a standalone movie and it wasn't connected to one of the most popular franchises ever, there wasn't any lore, what people loved about it, I wouldn't have any problem whatsoever with him unmasked because he looks so scary.
You're totally right. He does look terrifying, but you're right. It is a Michael film, and there's one scene where he kills somebody in like a field, I think. Maybe he's on a field. Just in a car park, sorry. The guy goes out.
It's Howard, the strip club owner. He stomps on his face.
Yeah, and it's a good scene, nothing wrong with it, but he kills that dude without the mask. And then 2 seconds later, he's got the mask on. No, when he goes in to kill the boss. Goes in. It's like, well, either have the mask on or off. It's if like, what's the point? I've got time to put it on now. I've got time. It's just nonsense. And another thing about the mask, is that it looks too human-like. It doesn't look off-human like the other ones.
I think the only reason you picked up on that is because half his mask is gone. More than half his mask is gone because it got ripped off. So
even before that, I thought he looked a bit too human.
No, I disagree with you. I love the mask, especially in the first one. I think it's one of the best Michael Myers masks.
Yeah.
And I quite like the extra grubby look, proper tattered, disgusting mask. Looks like it stinks. But if it looks like it stinks, you know it's a good mask. Yeah. Let's talk about the most polarizing aspect of this movie. I'm sure a lot of people have had a lot of heated debates over a few drinks on this one, and it's the change in Sam Loomis. So, Sam Loomis' story in this one is just insane. So he's kind of cashed in on his fame from the first movie as the doctor of Michael Myers. He's in 5-star hotels in white robes. He's doing book signings, and he's become a bit of a money whore, and he's become a bit arrogant. He's become a celebrity, so he's not just like this unknown doctor now that looked after Michael. He's like an A-lister. I hated it. I hate the change in Loomis in this one. It's hard to follow him. It's hard to root for him. He just seems like an arrogant twat the whole film. I really did not get on with Malcolm McDowell. In the second one, I don't mind him in the first one. I don't like him in the second one.
I didn't like him in the first one, but he is kind of Loomis. He's very similar to Donald Pleasant. But in this one, you're right. He's on a talk show with Weird Al, which is so jarring. And then you've got there's a scene in it when he's in I think he's in a book signing part. No, before that. And he asks his agent or his publicist, whatever, for some PG tips with a splash of milk. That is a typical, an American written sort of, okay, he's English, he likes tea and he likes milk, and PG tips is a brand in Britain. It's like... Is that all you can think? It's like us writing an American movie and saying, hey, he's got a hot dog in his hand and he's got a beer hat.
Beef jerky,
Yeah, it's it's such a cliche, I don't even like fucking tea. It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, and again, like I said at the start, this is the first time I've watched it. I haven't had a long time to stew on it and really delve into the backstory, the psychological aspects of the movie. I'm an absolute amateur to this movie. I may watch it again just to get a better understanding of the film. But I've watched it once, 2 days ago, and this is as raw as it gets in terms of a fresh view in. But overall, I wasn't a big fan. Like you said, Jenks, there's some nasty kills in this one. Octavia Spencer's death, where she's getting repeatedly stabbed in the face. The scream she does, that bit where she's running and you can see half her face is coming undone.
Eat my shit.
Rob Zombie is great at creating really nasty, grimy scenes. Now, I know you hate him, Jenks, but you got to give him props for that grimy feel. He is an auteur. He has a direction, and all his films look like they were directed by him. And I got to put my hats off to him for that. Is that he has a style, and he's implemented it, and no one else has a style like him.
Yes, I suppose so. But do you know, that was the big problem for me with the kills, was that they weren't very inventive. He's just killing people.
Just
And
nasty
yeah,
kills.
and if that's what you're going for, fine. But I think with Jason, with Michael, with Freddy, all the sort of grade A killers, they have to be inventive and original, and just stabbing somebody all the time. That was always been the problem with Ghostface. He's not original. He just stabs people. And I want Michael to be a bit more creative, and I didn't
Do you know
find it in
what?
this.
As a consumer, as someone who watches films and wants these things, I get that standpoint. But in terms of story, I don't think Michael should have creative kills. He's just he's the boogeyman. He's a psycho. Like, he shouldn't be having these flashy kills. I don't think it suits the tone of the movies. I think he should just be absolutely brutal and relentless.
Yeah.
Like the stomping scene, Octavia Spencer's death. He should just be the nastiest piece of shit ever. And but as a consumer, I get what you mean. If you're talking about kill count and how Jason's kills stack up against Michael's, Jason wins all day.
Yeah.
But it suits the tone of the movie better to have it that way.
It definitely suits the tone of this movie. I think in general, he tends to have more inventive kills, especially in the sort of the trilogy they made recently. Well, I say recently.
Oh, yeah.
2018 is the first one. So like the Halloween party. So you got Laurie Strode is a very irritating character. I know she's going through some PTSD, but she gets very irritating, and they convince her to go to this Halloween party to work in Halloween. And it's like a last minute party, and they've got the best costumes you've ever seen. And every single person in this party has got like high level costumes, you know? And then you've got one scene right at the end, which is so un-Michael, where the guy is trying to get off with that girl in his van, and then Michael kind of dives through the window. He's about 9 foot, like. Most of himself would be outside still for ages, dangling. What's going on there? It's just legs. Nonsense. It's not Michael. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Right. Let's talk about the finale then, Jenks. I think another polarizing part of this movie is that finale. We end up with Laurie and Michael. They're in a barn. And somehow Laurie can also see what's her name in it?
Sheri Moon.
Yeah, Sheri Moon. And Michael as a 7-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So she can see them as well. There's even a bit where 7-year-old Michael is holding her down.
Yeah.
Which is just, it doesn't make any sense to me. But what's crazy is that the whole film, we've just followed Loomis on his celebrity trail, right? He has no connection to what's currently going on in the story. He doesn't come up against Michael at all. There's nothing. He's just living his best life, right? Going on talk shows with Weird Al. And then he sees on the news that Michael is in this barn held up with Laurie Strode. I don't know if that's mentioned. And then he turns up there, and Brad Douriff and the rest of the county sheriffs are there. They've got the barn held up. And Loomis just walks into the barn because, you know, he's the wrangler. He's an expert on this, like, and he just gets slaughtered.
Yeah.
Repeatedly stabbed. Straight away.
Yeah. And
there's no bargaining with him. Yeah. It's just Loomis getting absolutely obliterated.
Yeah. So, like, it's a case. So this is how bad Loomis's character is that if you plucked him out of this film, the film would still continue exactly the same.
And that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, it's not as if like he rescues her or does something that distracts her and she escapes, whatever. He can still get slaughtered, who cares? But it just didn't serve any purpose. And I think the director thought, oh, he won't expect that. It's like, yeah, but it's okay sometimes to expect things. You can kill him off if you want.
Because it suits the story.
Yeah. So like he kills Michael, like I said, that little kid, the ghost kid, oh, for fuck's sake. is holding her down, and he comes in. There's
nothing there.
There's nobody there. Evil has you in his, in his clutches. I tells you. It's like we were laughing about the his lines in the
has
first one.
Evil killed again?
And he's like all the way through the first one. He's like, Michael is evil, and then when he's like, leave him alone. He's good. He's a good lad.
He's a good lad.
And he's like stopping the cops killing him, but then she kills him, and you know what I'm gonna say. She walks out of the barn. Do you want to say it?
Yeah, so
I don't want to steal it off you.
This is the bit that killed me, right? I actually loved it because she walks out of the barn wearing Michael's mask, but somehow his head is about 1 million times bigger than hers because she walks out wearing Michael's mask and she's like almost off balance, like I can't.
It's nonsense.
And I thought, yeah, he may be like 8 foot, but heads usually tend to be around the same size, regardless if you're a man or a woman. She looked like, what's his name from Spaceballs?
Dark Helmet.
Dark Helmet. Ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, have you ever seen that Michael Fassbender film, Frank Sidebottom?
Frank.
When he's got the paper mache head. She's walking out. Now there, and I just thought, like, why is it so big? As if, like, is her head like a pea head, and it's smaller than we realise, and his head is 8 sizes too big. And she puts it on for 2 seconds, and then she pulls it off. So it was literally as if she stuck it on. Thought, fuck, this stinks. Off.
Yeah.
It's fucking shit.
Right, so overall, I'm not a fan of this film. I will stick to the original and the new ones. Huge fans of those. I'm probably not going to go back and revisit this one. I understand why it's become a bit of a cult movie. It's got a lot to love there. Nothing that I personally love, but I could see its appeal. I know Rob Zombie has a big fan base, but unfortunately it wasn't for me. I really wanted to love it, but I just couldn't get into it at all.
Yeah, same here. Look, it's not the worst film in the world. We've seen lots worse. It is a serviceable hour and a half, but if it's a Halloween film, it's nonsense. There's so much to hate. But if you like kills, again, it's pretty inoffensive. It's not like watching, it's not like watching Jason Goes to Hell when it's like he's not even in it. In fact, it's not even as weird. I know you like Halloween Ends, but it's not even as strange as that. It still follows a killer taking people out. So if that's what you want, watch it, but I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Right. If you love horror, if you love rankings, reviews, please subscribe and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.